I messed up and this piece didn't go as planned. I almost didn't post this video, but I promised to keep it honest, so keep watching to see where it went off the rails. As always, starting with a pencil sketch. It's October, so I wanted something Halloween inspired, pointy heads, pumpkins, and a little spooky. So that's why I'm adding a skull to my drawing. I'm not using any references right now, which is a bit of a leap of faith for me. I actually don't draw without references. I'm not at that level just yet. Of course, I did spend like hours scrolling Pinterest for inspiration, but honestly guys, I'm kind of proud of myself. Drop a comment below if you like drawing without references, and let me know how it works for you. All these folds are tricky. People spend hours studying how fabric folds, but this is just a simple sketch, so I'm not overthinking this. Also, setting some expectations. This isn't a realistic drawing, it's just a loose sketch, so cut me some slack here. I'm really struggling with the leaf. If it weren't for the camera, I would rotate the paper to get my hand in a better position. But because I want a clean shot, I'm keeping the canvas still, and I'm really worried the leaf will end up too weird and not symmetrical. We'll see. I don't know it yet, but I've already made my first mistake. And trust me, it will not be the last one in this video. I'm doing the outline now, and that's the point of no return. And when I planned this piece, I wanted the pumpkin to be spooky, like real scary. I wanted it to have an evil carved smile, okay? But as you can probably tell, the outline is done, no spooky smile anywhere. I totally forgot about it. I will realize it later, but it will be too late, obviously. And again, I'm having trouble outlining the leaf because of my weird hand position. So, okay, now it's an ugly leaf. Now erasing my pencil lines, and I prefer a kneaded eraser because it doesn't damage the paper. Coloring time! My favorite part. So sometimes my sketches end up being too basic because I do rush the sketches sometimes and outline too, just to get to the coloring. By the way, all the materials and color codes I'm using here are in the description box, so check it out if you want to follow along. Speaking of materials, I cannot recommend this paper. It's Bristol, so it should be smooth, but it's not. I've got other Bristol pads from different brands, and they are truly smooth. This one has too much tooth, I think, so the markers don't really blend that well. And probably you can hear the scratchy sound in this video, so that's the paper, unfortunately. So make sure you're using smooth paper so your markers perform their best. Don't make your job any harder. Before any sketch, I do a bit of prep work. So if you're curious what that includes, drop a comment below and I can think of making a video about it. Yeah, so we're talking choosing composition, picking references, picking colors, and so on and so on. So the pumpkin here is the center of this composition, and it's getting most of my TLC. And I'm using a bunch of yellows and oranges and pears. I'm using a bunch of yellow and orange colors to get a really nice blend and the color mix. Also, hopefully, you noticed that the sound quality is a bit better in this video. My new audio gear arrived and I'm super excited to try it out. So this is the first video with my new gear. Of course, editing is still a big part of creating, video with great sound. So it's a learning curve. So I'll keep learning as we go, I guess. I'm stacking a lot of layers, mostly because I don't have the full coloring plan yet, if I'm honest. So I'm improvising a bit. But in general, I've got a good idea of the colors I want to use and how the final about the final look. But I like to go with the flow, honestly. So I don't want to plan every single step, right? That's why I start typically with the lightest colors so that I can always go darker. And with markers, as you know, you can't go back from dark to light. Everything around my beautiful pumpkin won't be fully colored. It's a technique I've seen online when the central point of the composition is very detailed and everything else is left either uncolored or like loosely colored and with minimal details. I haven't mastered it yet, but I've seen really beautiful examples online, especially in journals, like for example, travel journal or like daily journal, and also urban sketches, by the way. I don't really do urban sketches, but I do love journals. I recently got 3 new sketchbooks as a gift, and I think I'll use one of them as a travel journal. And now I just made another mistake. I picked a color that's too dark, and first, the problem is it steals the attention from the pumpkin, which is the center of our composition, as we have established. Second, it will make doing shadows harder because the shadows will blend right into the head. You will not be able to tell where the head ends and shadow starts. It's not always the problem, but it can be here. Now, I picked violets on purpose because on the color wheel, if you check it, violet colors sit across from yellow and orange. So they are complementary colors and they look real great together. Funny thing, I didn't really like the skull shape at first. I thought it's ugly, which isn't really a problem, right, in a Halloween sketch. But anyway, the more I look at it, the more I like it actually. It's exaggerated and it kind of look evil. So it's deformed in a way, and honestly it feels a bit unsettling. Also, you cannot really tell whose skull it is, which also adds to the creepy feeling and vibe. I think it really adds a nice spooky, element to the drawing. Almost done with the head, and it shouldn't draw too much attention away from the pumpkin. Now I'm adding some background colors, just broad strokes and splashes, not detailed coloring or something. It's really important to reuse similar colors or even same colors from your main subject, to reuse them in the background. It really ties the whole composition and whole piece together, so nothing random pulls the focus away from the main point. This is something I struggled with before, where I would use too many colors and then, everything would be all over the place in my drawings. Like, it would be very difficult to understand where should I look at. There wasn't any violet in the pumpkin, if you remember, and now I'm adding just a little touch of it, again, to tie everything together. I also like using violet colors instead of grays for shadowing. I think they look nicer sometimes, not always, but often. And here is exactly what I was talking about. The head and the shadow now are merging together because I already used the darkest color and it's all kind of a mush now. I'm doing the same trick with the yellow on the skull and the head now, so adding some yellow strokes so the colors tie it all together. Now I want to add a bit of lettering. Obviously, I haven't learned any lettering in the last couple of weeks. I might stick with stamps for a while, a couple of years at least, because I love, I love how good lettering adds personality to a sketch, but I'm not sure I want to invest more time into calligraphy and lettering because my plate is already full with fundamentals. Shape, color, light, shadow, all of that, okay? I don't have so much time. I'm kind of annoyed with myself about the letters here. The spacing is off, and now it looks like each letter is just doing its own thing. Like, I'm leaning left, I'm a bit above the other one, so... Okay. As you can see, I wasn't careful and I smudged the paper with ink from the stamps. And that's not something you can easily fix. Also, the stamp ink is too warm, it looks really off. So I'm covering the letters with a pale violet color to get it closer to the colors I've used in the sketch. Now I'll try to fix the stain. There's no point in trying to remove it, I don't think I can. I'll try covering it. First idea, I add in some bubbles or dots or whatnot with the same marker colors to create kind of, visual noise and distract from the stain. And it's not looking great. It's not great. So I keep adding the noise and now I'm worried I'm about to ruin the whole sketch. These things are ugly. And now last resort. I'm covering everything with acrylic markers and honestly, I probably should have started here. It could have been a more elegant solution. I think it's time to stop, even though it turned out not the way I imagined. If you enjoyed this video, if the whole making mistakes thing resonates, please hit that subscribe and like button and I'll see you next time. Ciao!